Disclaimer: I am just a humble Genshin Impact fan. I do not own any of the rights to Genshin Impact, or any of the content within it, such as the lore books. Those specifically belong to Hoyoverse. What I do have, however, are friends with things like learning disabilities, such as dyslexia and ADHD, or very little free time, making reading the lore books either in-game or on wiki pages hard for them. Our solution to these problems has been for me to make these recordings so that they can listen to them and still get to enjoy Genshin lore like the rest of us. I have chosen to upload these recordings to YouTube as a way of sharing them with other fans within the community who might be in similar situations. I am admittedly no voice actress, trained narrator, or video editor, but I have tried my best, so please be gentle with me. Therefore, without further ado, let's get into today's story. La Chanson Erinnyes. A tale about the Knight Erinnyes and her struggle against the expanding empire of Remuria. Volume 1, found on the upper floor of Lumidus Harbour. Chapter 6, Part 7. How the emissary of King Remus came to Erinnyes, asking her for a gift of Aramori Castle's water and earth, and for her to submit to the Symphonia Capitoli, which means the Eternal Harmony. Of the glorious deeds of Utkerus of Erinnyes, a righteous and noble knight, and his valiant battle against a venom-breathing dragon, much has already been said earlier that we shall draw to a close here. Now we shall look back and talk of Erinnyes in those days. At the time, Erinnyes had just defeated the princes of Ballad, Atrebatus, and Urumandoi, and accepted their allegiance. And so the residents of those lands knew the kindness of the Mistress of Many Waters, submitting to her rule with sincerity. To celebrate the fealty and wisdom, 8 days of feasting were ordered in Aramori Castle, with all to be treated as honoured guests. On that day, a musician arrived, an emissary dispatched by King Remus of Capitoli, claiming to have a message to deliver. He came with no attendants or guards, just a single horse and a gold-tipped fasces as a symbol of his status. Everyone present was deeply displeased, but the emissary was permitted to speak out of respect for Erinnyes, the beloved leader of the knights. On seeing Erinnyes, the emissary first wished her well and performed a formal bow before explaining his intent.
I represent the most honourable and greatest King Remus, Emperor of all, and send my regards to your court. May your anger never destroy your powers of reasoning. King Remus asks of you 2 gifts as legitimate tribute. The first is water, for the purest of waters can wash away all sins. The second is earth, for dense earth can resist the erosion that looms. King Remus expects you and your people to honour his wishes. Should you dare resist, death shall be sure to follow.
The emissary's message sent Sir Guliam of Galone into a rage, and he drew the sacred blade Narbonne from its scabbard.
Cease, you braggart! To make such threats on this occasion is an insult to every knight here. And if you mean to threaten my sworn liege, there is no need for me to hold back. I shall have your head, sir, in a single stroke.
Many of the brave knights drew their swords, including Knight Blancandrin and his compatriot Knight Marcy. But the wise Knight Erinnyes gave an order to the knights present. The emissary from Capitolani was not to be harmed. Please tell King Remus, great emissary, that in this whole world there is only one to whom we bend the knee, and that is the beneficent Mistress of the Many Waters, our mistress who bears for us our sins, the greatest and most honourable ruler. No other ruler or god can be spoken of in the same breath, for she is the greatest in kindness and first in glory. On hearing that, King Remus's emissary again spoke, saying this before all gathered there.
Before King Remus conquers your land, he shall send war or hunger or plague upon you. Those who once fought against each other have been brought to peace under a single ruler, and this is wisdom. For otherwise who shall mourn when the waters flow over our heads, and who shall save us in our hour of need? Of all these braves who has rescued themselves from ignorance and superstition, who hears the cries of the weak? King Remus's orders are well meant and born of pity. He does not wish to see a single person fall into the waters. He would see all saved.
Volume 2, Souffle du Parfum at the Court of Fontaine. Chapter 6, Part 9. How the knights of every region united to lend their strength to Erinnyes in opposition to the designs of the Capitolani to invade. When Sir Agricane had finished, the fine bowman, Knight dressed, Prince of Lyonnais, was first to speak and offer his view. The harmony and prosperity that Vivarium's heir has promised us are naught but lies, as promise but trickery. Knight Erinnyes of the Lake Light, none so wise and noble as you should be taken in by such pretense. You must know that those words are aimed much like a poisoned arrow tipped with gold. It may be dazzling to watch, but the pain it brings shall be all the greater. His fair companion, Adsaltea, the lady of the azure sail, whose name meant daughter of ice, was next to speak. Vivarium's heir is the least trustworthy of traitors. That he would have such harmonious congress with Boethius is completely bewildering. Knight Erinnyes of the Lake Light, no matter what reason he offers, we cannot let the Capitolani harm all we know to be good. Please make up your mind as soon as you are able, and do battle with the court of Capitolani. For there shall be no salvation for our souls, should you bend the knee. Let the evil disappear like dew in the sun. Oath-breakers and the unjust will be driven from this world, and in this way songs will be sung of your wisdom, for those who seek to exact the debt of bloodshed will be remembered by those in misery. And following that, Sir Names, Sir Tulpen, and all the other noble knights lent their swords to the fight. Erinnyes knew of their dedication and offered her sincere thanks. Then she met with King Remus's musician and spoke to him as follows. Please inform King Remus, noble emissary, that we are not bound to bow before any monarch. The mistress of many waters has granted us all equal honour. There are none greater who shall trample me, none lesser who must envy me. And I am to lead her blessed army to destroy the White Dragon and the Grand City, and to cleanse their bodies in their own blood. Like a herder drives the wolves from his flock, I will drive the invaders from this land, to serve as an eternal warning. And with that, Erinnyes ordered Sir Fiabras to prepare a wondrous gift for the Capitolani musician. She ordered the emissary to be escorted back to Charybdis Castle so he could report to King Remus. Of that we shall write later. Volume 3, found on the upper floor of Lumidus Harbour. Chapter 20, Part 3. How Erinnyes bid farewell to the mistress of many waters, and how she threw her sword into the lake 3 times. The mistress of many waters heard all this, and in her eternal kindness, compassion, and grace, granted Erinnyes her wish. And so Erinnyes said, Thank you, O Queen of many waters, for showing me the pure grail I so urgently desired, and for allowing me to complete this journey. Those knights who yet survive, your servants, will continue to loyally serve you and your future kingdom, following that noble musician. They will pursue the lingering shadows, restoring justice. For those who travel in the dark yearn for the light, while those in the light know nothing of the dark. Goodness is nothing but a dream. Thus I do present these good knights to you, and beg that you forgive their sins. The mistress of many waters heard all this, and in her eternal kindness, compassion, and grace, granted Erinnyes her wish. And so Erinnyes said, O Queen of many waters, I confess to you my sins, and do not hide my evil, for they are too grave to be forgiven. In your high and pure ideals, you must not forgive such sins. The only possible comfort for my soul is expulsion and exile. There are no angels or divine edicts. In your kind and loving land, only sin may determine sin, and only people may judge people. I ask only that you remember my suffering and witness our grievances, for these are like disease, like a poison. I submit my name into your hands, and may all who criticize us be cursed for all eternity for their lack of righteousness. The knight with sea-coloured eyes finished her speech, and drew her shining sword. A beam of watery light shone from it and lit the valley. O fair or clear sword of light, how you shine under the blazing sun's beams! You have drunk the crimson blood of the unrighteous. Oath-breakers and the unjust have fallen like flakes of snow to the ground before your purity. Countless sins stain my coat, for I bear the guilt of bloodshed. I have taken lives, even that of the righteous, yet still you shine. May the mistress of many waters have mercy. The unrighteous are not worthy of you. Beautiful and holy lake light, I return you now to the lake. Thus did the knight with the sea-coloured eyes cease speaking, and she threw the sword in her hand to the waters of the lake. Yet the sword did not sink, and drifted back to her feet. O fair haute Claire, sword of light, you are so lovely and sacred, your golden hilt inlaid with jewels. Deirdre, that maiden by the lake, that noble lady of pure waters, gifted you to the chief of knights so she could perform countless deeds. She once used you to conquer Perigord, she once used you to defeat Asiers. Even the Fae of the distant south could not seize you. May the mistress of many waters have mercy, the unrighteous are not worthy of you. Beautiful, holy lake light, I return you now to the lake. Thus did the knight with the sea-coloured eyes cease speaking, and she threw the sword in her hand to the waters of the lake. Yet the sword did not sink, and drifted back to her feet. O great haute Claire, sword of light, by your blade were so many conflicts settled in peace, and the ravages of war laid to rest in these lands. One day there shall be one nobler than I, 7 times more so, who will lift you again, and they shall do deeds 7 times greater. How many wondrous days have I spent beside you? Ah, dawn breaks, yet I have lost the crown of righteousness forever. May the mistress of many waters have mercy. The unrighteous are not worthy of you. Beautiful and holy lake light, I return you now to the lake. Thus did the knight with the sea-coloured eyes cease speaking, and she threw the sword in her hand to the waters of the lake. The sword sank without a trace, and then she left with the spirit who had been by her side from the start, never again to be seen by any in this world. Other information. Since its release in version 4.2, there have been 2 sets of corrections to this text. The first was in version 4.3, where a duplicated line in volume 3 was corrected. The old line read, "You have drunk the crimson blood of the unrighteous. Oath-breakers and the unjust have fallen like flakes of snow to the ground before your purity. You have drunk the crimson blood of the unrighteous. Oath-breakers and the unjust have fallen like flakes of snow to the ground before your purity." The new line reads, "You have drunk the crimson blood of the unrighteous. Oath-breakers and the unjust have fallen like flakes of snow to the ground before your purity. Countless sins stain my coat, for I bear the guilt of bloodshed. I have taken lives, even that of the righteous, yet still you shine." The second was in version 4.6, where a line in volume 2 was corrected. The old line read, "Vivarium's heir is the least trustworthy of traitors. How can we reason with someone as vile as him?" The new line reads, "Vivarium's heir is the least trustworthy of traitors. That he would have such harmonious congress with Boethius is completely bewildering." The book contains multiple references to the matter of France, a body of literature and legendary material associated with the history of France. Its style is that of a chanson de geste, an early type of medieval French epic poetry, and is the source of many of the names appearing in this collection. The book collection itself is named after the Song of Roland, La Chanson de Roland. Erinnyes' sword, Haute Claire, is named after the magical sword wielded by Oliver, a legendary knight from the Matter of France who appeared in the Song of Roland. Blancandrin and Marcy are antagonists within the Song of Roland. Tulpin or Tilpin was the Bishop of Reims who appears in the Song of Roland as a bishop doubling as a warrior. Féribras is a character in several chansons de geste and other romances relating to the Matter of France. Guillaume of Gallone's historical namesake is William of Gallone, a French saint who became a popular hero and has an entire literary cycle dedicated to him. Guillaume's sword derives its name from Narbonne, a chanson de geste in William of Gallone's cycle. Narbonensis is also the French name for the Roman province Gallia Narbonensis. Similarly, Lyonnaise is the French name for Gallia Lugdunensis, another Roman province mainly populated by Gauls. Lugdunensis is mentioned in the notes around the fated castle area. The Matter of France continued. Naimes or Naimon is a character who appears in many chansons de geste and Italian epic romances about the Matter of France. Otkeris or Otcha was a historical Frankish nobleman who, through the Chansons de Guest, evolved into the legendary figure Otgier the Dane. Erinnyes is the French name for the Rhineland. Agricane or Agrican is a major character in the Italian chivalric romance Orlando Innamorato, about the matter of France. Adeltia and Drest are possible origins of the names Iseult and Tristan, respectively, the two lovers in the chivalric romance Tristan and Iseult. The NPC in Petrichor Goldoni references the farewell of the Lock Knight Drest and Adsaltia as a classical romance in her second dialogue set. Drest is a Pictish name and was used by several legendary Pictish kings. Deira was a Greek deity connected with the Eleusinian Mysteries. Due to the secrecy of the Eleusinian Mysteries, there are many conflicting sources regarding Deira's identity, but her name means knowing one. According to the geographer Ponesis in his description of Greece, Deira was one of the Oceanids, as she was a daughter of the Titan Oceanus. Several of the tribes named in Volume 1 are named after territories or tribes that were conquered by Julius Caesar. Arimorica, the name of Erinnyes' tribe, is derived from the Gaulish Arimori and is a toponym meaning in front of the sea. The real Arimorica, known as Armorique in French, was a region of Gaul and a centre of resistance against the Romans during Caesar's Gallic Wars. Today it mainly refers to the peninsula in northwestern France where the Celtic region of Brittany is located. Arimorica's importance could also be a reference to the French comic series Asterix, in which the tribe of Armorica was home to the village of the main character Asterix and his friends, who were resisting Julius Caesar during the Roman Republic's time. We know the name of Erinnyes' tribe because of the description for the weapon splendor of tranquil waters. Belokoi, Atrebatus, and Uramandoi are all Gaulish names for Belgic tribes which were defeated and conquered by Julius Caesar. Périgord or Périgord was a region and province of France. It came under the control of Rome after the Gallic Wars. Les Isies, or Les Isies in French, is a commune within the Périgord area. Cassiodor's epithet of Vivarium's heir is a reference to the Roman monastery Vivarium, which was founded by the Roman statesman Cassiodorus near Squillace in Calabria, Italy, around the year 544. In Volume 1, the messenger for Remuria is carrying a gold-tipped fasces. These are bound bundles of wooden rods, typically featuring an emerging battle axe. They were seen as symbols of power, authority, and unity in ancient Rome, as it was a grouping of equipment all needed to inflict corporal or capital punishment. Other names. Sources. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Ad Astra Abyssosque.